Hey guys, so today I wanted to talk to you about the importance of birth preferences and why I feel so strongly about creating birth preferences with my clients and discussing them. I see a lot of things on the internet about not having a birth plan, and that's why I call it birth preferences, because you can't plan birth. No one can tell you how your birth is going to unfold despite your best intentions. Trust me, I know from my own birth experience that I had my preferences and I had plan A, B, C, D, and it went completely different. But here's the thing. I want you to go into your birth educated, informed, and empowered. And that is why we talk about birth preferences. Of course, your well-being and the well-being of your baby is the number one priority. But should things unfold, you have your rights, you have your choices, and I don't want you to go into things scared. So right now, we're in a really interesting time. There's the coronavirus, COVID-19 happening, and I'm seeing a lot of things in the birth community about things that are happening in hospitals, in birthing choices, and I see a lot of pregnant people scared. So I think more than ever, understanding your birth choices is really important. Knowing what your rights are, knowing that you have choices, you still have options, and feeling empowered. So if you have a doula, even if you don't have a doula, I really encourage you to go through all of the possibilities that could happen. And I really encourage you to go over it with your partner and your care provider and do it at a time when things are not heightened, while you're not in labor, so that you have time to research, you have time to understand the pros and cons, risks and benefits of everything. And it's something from as simple as, hey boops. There's things that are as simple as an IV. You don't have to be hooked up to an IV in most cases. You can have a saline lock, a heparin lock, placed in your arm. I always recommend having it in the non-dominant arm. And just having it there. You can hydrate by mouth. If for some reason you do need extra hydration or IV fluids or any sort of medication, you have the IV already in place and they can easily connect it. It gives you a little bit more freedom of movement, because once you have this IV in your arm, you feel like you're stuck, and then you've got an IV pole to walk around the room with you. Another thing is hydrating by mouth, eating. Some hospitals don't allow it. There's research, and ACOG, the American Academy of Gynecology, now recommends it, that you do eat in labor. You don't go into an incredibly intense physical and emotional event without nourishment. It's just common sense. There are things like what happens in the event of a cesarean birth. You still have choices. Most of the time, you do have time to prepare. Very rarely are emergency cesareans truly emergent. I prefer to call them unscheduled. So you can talk with your partner, your care provider, about what's going to make you still feel the most comfortable and supported in the event of a cesarean birth. You can ask your care providers to limit their conversations. If you feel more comfortable knowing what's happening, you can ask them to describe what's happening, tell you what's going to happen next, what to expect, so it's a little less jarring. You can delay newborn procedures up to an hour after birth to allow you and your baby time to catch your breath and bond before things like the eye ointment, erythromycin, vitamin K, and just having that time to connect, having skin to skin if you'd like. And these are all things you can talk about with your partner, your doula, your care provider, and see what's going on. And of course, always coming back to, if you and the baby are okay, what are your choices? What are your options?